a song for you.
You're listening to Deep Purple Smoke on the Podcast. I will do one episode for each song the band recorded in the studio. However, this is a fan podcast and not band endorsed. It's more of a tribute to their long history, well beyond just the hits, and my way of giving something back to a band that has given so much to me. Let's dig in! Hello and welcome to another episode of Deep Purple Smoke on the Podcast. I am your host, Scott Haskin, and we have a great show. This is season 26, episode number 2, covering the song Burn on a missed connection, because I was really hoping to do this the first go around, but I just got a little too busy to schedule it. But I have with me today one of my very dear friends. We have known each other since May of 1988. I couldn't tell you the date, is about the only thing I can't do. But he's a big fan of this song, and he is an amazing artist, an author, and just one of the best people I've ever had the pleasure of knowing in my life, my friend Scott Ladzinski. Scott, how are you doing today?
Hey, Scott, I'm doing great. Thank you.
Well, it was great having you on. Thank you for stopping by. No, I'm just kidding.
All right. Bye.
It's a great song.
Time.
I was thinking about this earlier today when I knew we were going to be recording, and I'm like, wow, we really have known each other for a long time. I mean, here we are. It is May of 2026. It's kind of crazy to think that we've known each other for 38 years.
I know. It's nuts.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It really is.
One of my longest standing friends.
Mm-hmm. Same here.
Yeah.
Same here.
So fun.
And I'm so grateful that we have kept in touch all these years. We've worked on projects together. You did the logo design for this very podcast. You also did the logo for Uriah Heep, the Magicians podcast.
Yeah.
I'm hoping you're still willing to do my Rainbow podcast.
Always willing.
It's so great to work with people who just spark the kind of creativity that you do, because I can give you the most basic, like, here's what I'm kind of going for. And then you send me like 9 designs. And the biggest challenge I have is just going, how do I not use all 9 of these? Like, how could I work that in and still make the show have a theme? That's the biggest challenge of working with you, is it's almost like you're too creative.
Well, thanks. I'll definitely take that compliment. And, not always the case. It's I think it's a lot easier when you're working with somebody who you already know who they are and what they like, and allows you the opportunity to really explore any possible creative solution to the what we call a design problem, which is in cases, for a podcast, usually the logo is always the foundation for all marketing, branding, etc. So it's been a pleasure to work with you on those projects and help you see your vision. So
well, thank you
for that compliment. I appreciate it.
Is there a difference in how you, from the time that you hit send and you're waiting for the response, is there a difference on how you handle that on projects where you're working with a friend or doing something, personal that you want an opinion on, versus when you do that for your job because you're a professional designer? Mm-hmm. So obviously there's a whole different audience, a different set of requirements, different expectations. But as the creator for both, is there a difference in how you feel when you hit send, waiting for that response?
I mean, there's always the anticipation of the feedback. Will for lack of a better way to say it, client like it? Will they not? Mm-hmm. Will you get a positive response? Will you get a we don't like it response? You don't sleep. And no, it's never settled until the actual deadline. I guess is what I would say. You send it out, you wait for feedback, you adjust. One of the things about design, especially that I have learned in 30 some years that I've been doing it, is you're really trying to help somebody else see their vision, right? You're not, yes, you're the creative side of it, but you need to work with the person who's asking you to help them. And so you have to be open to hearing their feedback and not taking it personally if something isn't liked, because you just got to kind of keep throwing things out there until the solution is found. But no, the design mindset never stops, ever. You're like, I constantly find myself seeing things, and I carry a little notebook with me, and if I see something that inspires me, I'll either sketch it real quick or jot it down, or like see a company logo and you go, oh, that company, and you write the company down so you can Google it later. It becomes, you're constantly in. Every designer I know is constantly in create mode, and that's the beauty of deadlines. I would say is that when the deadline hits, you can finally let it go. So no, I have literally come up with logos at 2 a.m. where you wake up to, for lack of a better way to put it, you got to go to the bathroom, and sitting there in the most vulnerable position you can be in, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, and then you, you never stop. It just never stops.
Yeah. And that's a beautiful thing. And I think that there are definitely people that are just born to be creative people. There are people who are born to be creative sometimes, and that's okay.
Sure.
But you're one of those people that I've always found to be always creating something. I mean, I remember in high school, we had class, and they tried to teach us something, but it was more about what's Scott working on over there.
Right.
Because you were always
threw a
creating
lot of
something.
Swords.
Yeah. I wrote a lot of drum charts.
D&D era, a lot of swords.
A lot of swords.
Actually
a lot of bones.
wrote a short story called Swords.
Nice. A lot of bones. I remember bones being in your drawings too when you were doing like band logos and stuff.
Yeah.
But you are also an author. You have books that are published, and I can certainly appreciate that as an author myself. You worked very hard to make this dream come true. How did it feel for you when you hit publish that first time on Amazon?
Oh man, I'll tell you that hitting the publish was a high. But and I got to give a little shout out to you, because I asked you taught me how to use the Kindle publishing, which is what I use, the Amazon publishing service. And I had reached out to you, and you walked me through that process. And yes, hitting that publish button was it was a little scary, because you're like, okay, that we're committing to this, right? Like, it's out there now. It's officially out there.
Right.
But I will say where like the rush of euphoria hit was when I ordered my 20 copies. And when that box landed on my doorstep, and I opened it, and I popped open the fold, and here's the cover with my name on it. I can't even. I mean, I have 2 kids, and it's third in the list of amazing things I've created that I got to see actually happen in the world. Like, it was. So, I mean, it's amazing when you see a book with your name on the cover that you spent so much time and effort on. So hitting the publish button was pretty cool, but I have to say the book in my hand was where it really kind of all hit home. So
it was exactly the same for me every single time I've done it. And I publish 9 books now, and every single time it is exactly the same process. There's that moment where I just hesitate and kind of hover over it with the mouse, and then I'll move the mouse just to the side of the button so I don't accidentally hit it.
Right.
Because I have done things in my life.
Right.
But I'll just stare at it for a second and be like, this means that this project is finished, and all this time I've been toiling over it, and all the work I put into it, thinking this is never going to get finished, and all those moments that you have, this is the end of it. I have to move on to something else now, which starts a whole new set of responsibilities.
Right.
So there's that part of it, but there's also now this is going out to the world, and they're going to have their thoughts and feelings about it, and they're going to say what they're going to say, or nothing's going to happen. Right. And that's even worse.
Right. But I agree 100%. I also, and you and I have talked about this before, how at least it's out of your head.
Yeah.
Right.
That's the thing.
The idea is out of your head now. And for me, that tends to be a nice relief at times, but it also then just allows space for the next thing, right. As you and I both know.
And it doesn't take long to fill that. Even if you say, okay, I've done it, I'm going to take a couple of days off and just kind of mentally recover. As soon as you're done saying that, another idea is already filtering its way into that space.
Yeah.
It just happens.
It just does. Yeah.
Tell us a little, I mean, I know, but it's better for you to describe it than for me to do it. So tell us a little bit about the books, the series, where you're headed, all that good stuff. Because I will say, I may be somewhat biased because we're such good friends, but as a beta reader on this series.
Right. I was just going to say
and that. How many times did I say, this isn't even my genre? I absolutely got so invested in the story, in the characters, in the events. I mean, it is a world that you can just fall into and not want to come out.
Yeah, thanks. I really appreciate that. The idea of this started over 2 decades ago. And it started because I was really into tabletop role play, got into online turn-based role play, which is basically just you have a character, other people have characters, those characters interact. There's rules as to how you can call an action, but you can't call damage. The other person gets to do that. That is where it kind of started. And I found we were writing, me and 2 other friends were in one of these turn-based role plays, and we were writing actually in the Dragonlance series. So it was basically, we were creating fan fiction. And as we kept going, I remember this is way back in 2006. And I was copying and pasting all of the posts from everybody into Word docs because I started recognizing this is pretty good. Mm-hmm. We were all just a bunch of kids doing, our writing was terrible and our grammar was even worse and nobody could spell. But I kept seeing this is really cool. Mm-hmm. And so it started laying a foundation for building a story in a new world. And so what happened was I then I reached out to the 2 friends that I was writing this turn-based role play with, Ray and Debbie. And I said, hey, if I was to use your characters' names, I'm not gonna duplicate the stories, but I'm gonna take the concept of these stories and I'm gonna write it myself. And I'm gonna write it in my own way and in my own style and actually play with making it good. Because I was never a writer as far as I never was an English major or anything. But I said, I just want permission to use your character's name. And both of them were like, yeah, of course. And they get credit in my first book. I put how Deb and Ray are, they were the major inspiration to get this going. So from there, I built the whole world I built called Aimsire, which literally means a place. Mm-hmm. I just started I just started writing. I just literally started typing whatever came to my head and how these characters would interact. And then from there, it kind of grew and became its own thing, and then was able to start cobbling it together into an actual story. But it never really formulated into chapters and a book until I met a guy named Ron Fortier, who is an amazing pulp writer. He's really into the detective pulp story type things. Mm-hmm. And I started showing him what I was doing and told him yeah, I've been thinking about doing this. And he literally, he's this super amazing, wonderful, old school, Vietnam vet who's no nonsense. And he was like, why haven't you done it? And I was like, I don't know, Ron. He's like, well, you just need to do it then. And so
there you go.
I was like, oh, well, yeah, okay. And so I did. And I started writing, I started really putting things into chapters and And he was just like, you have to do this. This is amazing. And same thing as you, Scott. He was like, this is not my genre, but this story is really good.
Yeah.
And that was the first time I started going, oh, maybe I can write a story,
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I've only sold a couple, 300 copies of my books. I've probably given away half as many as I've sold.
Sure.
But it's just fun that it's out there,
Mm-hmm.
It's something will outlive me. And that's kind of what I've thought about. Like, no matter what, that's out there now forever. And that's great. So I know that was probably the really long walk to Mordor and back to the Shire answer to your question. But
when you could have just flown on the eagle.
Just could have taken the eagle, dropped the ring.
Greatest rebuttal. I love Lord of the Rings. Don't get me wrong,
amazing.
but that argument was, when I heard that, I'm like, holy crap, that's so true.
I know.
Like,
so
really.
true.
But
man, will we have missed so many fun things in the middle.
Oh, absolutely. It's the journey of that story that's important.
Yeah.
But no, I think that's the thing, is that we, especially as artists, we have that vulnerable side of us that's afraid to take it to that level, that's afraid to commit or be responsible for it, because if it's bad, that reflects on us. It makes us question who we are as artists, that sort of thing. But you're also expanding into a world that was somewhat unfamiliar. I mean, in a way, just even as an artist, you're a storyteller. You may just be talking about one moment at a time with a picture, but you're still telling a story. But to take it to okay, I have to make descriptions for everything. I have to make this environment feel like you're really there. I have to make these characters lovable or hateable or both, or, it's a different type of responsibility. And if you haven't studied that, it does make you feel like maybe you're not the right person to do it. But here's what I can tell you. I've read your work, and you absolutely should be doing what you're doing.
Oh,
you really should. When I kept giving you of course. And I mean that. But when I kept giving you the feedback of like, okay, so keep in mind, this isn't my genre. It was because I didn't understand how the feel of these fantasy type stories should be. I'm looking at, characters, events, that sort of thing. And like, okay, how come, she's allergic to fish, but she's eating shrimp? That kind of stuff is what I'm looking for. But I was more worried that the feedback I was giving you may not be valuable, because in those worlds, the stuff that stood out to me made perfect sense, and fantasy readers wouldn't even pick that out. But at the end of the day, I loved the stories. I love the characters. I cannot wait for more. And I think that the pacing, and this is the biggest thing for me, because love or hate characters, love or hate the story, if it's not paced well, where you have enough happening to keep you wanting to read the next page, but not so much that it's just insane how much happens to people. Like, you have to find that balance. That is one of the biggest strong suits of your writing, is that you know where that balance is. And that is the biggest thing that I think you've accomplished.
Thank you. That's like, wow. Thank you. I appreciate that.
So just keep at it. Keep at it.
All right. I will. For you, if only for you.
Oh, okay. Well, thanks. There is a link, guys, in the show notes to all of Scott's stuff. Really check it out. I mean, bias aside, because of our friendship, he is a very, very talented artist. If you like the logo, this was 100% his design. If you don't like the logo, it was 100% his design.
And some people won't like it, and that's okay.
And that's fine. Yeah. And
totally
same with Uriah Heep the Magician's Podcast, with the exception of that little endorsed by thing that came from Mickbox of Uriah Heep, because that is part of their trademark. That was the only thing that we incorporated that Scott did not do, but the whole castle, the lettering, everything was all him. I smile every time I post, because every once in a while I'll just take like an older episode and I'll just like post it on the Instagram page or whatever to remind people that it's out there. And every time I just smile thinking about like when you sent me all these ideas and how hard of a time I had picking the right one. And in the end, I feel like I really did pick the right one, but I'm like, but all of them would have worked just fine. Like, seriously, they all would have been fine.
Yeah. Thank you. I mean, that's part of the thing. Like, you saw the few that I felt, okay, here's really good options. You didn't see the other 90 that got sketched but never produced, right?
Yeah.
Like, so that's just part of the process. One of the things I learned over the years is whatever the idea is, you sketch it, and I'm old school. I use a Sharpie marker and a pencil or a pad, and I just sketch and sketch and sketch and sketch. And getting the bad ideas out is, I would arguably say, more important than getting the good ideas out, because when you get the bad ideas out, they're out of your head now, and you know immediately, like, that's not gonna work. Right. So then you can just keep it's hard to explain, I guess. It's unless you're in the process of it.
Well, it makes sense.
You just sketch. You just go, and then you start. I put little stars next to ones that have potential, and then I go back to those. But like you as the quote unquote client in that case, you got to see the ones that sort of rose to the top.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, well, I can kind of equate it to this. I had a short film that I was working on, and I had finished the script. It was like 11 pages, and I figured, I'll just get a bunch of people together, pay everybody a couple $100 each. We'll shoot it over a weekend. We'll have some fun. And I brought the script to the producer, and she goes, "This is really good. I think we can do something with this. If you turn it into a feature, I can give you money. Like, we can get capital to shoot this movie, and you don't have to pay out of your pocket." And I'm like, okay, well, I would prefer that.
Right, of course.
and it would be much better, like, to make a feature film instead of just like a 10-minute short that's going to be seen by like 19 people. So I started working on the script, and I would call her and say, I don't know if we'll have the budget to do this. Should I put it in the script or not? And she would tell me, Scott, me, not you. She would say, Scott, put everything in there that you want. We're going to go through it, and we're going to edit out things that we can't do, things we can't get a budget for. But if you don't put it in there, it's never going to be in there.
Right.
So it's kind of, in a way, the same thing. Like, if you don't draw every idea that you have, it's never going to be potentially that logo.
Right. Yeah. Agreed. And like I said, some of it is just, you just got to get every idea out. And all the creativity comes from the exact same spot.
Right.
Right. The good and the bad. It all comes from the same, like, creative seed. It doesn't mean that every idea is perfect. In fact, most of them are not. Well, but if you do 100, you're going to get 5 that are perfect or near perfect. And then you can pick 3 of those and really perfect them. And I think that's what some people miss, is that when you see a good logo, it means that probably 90 ideas failed to get to that one good mark. And that's just the creative process, and you have to be cool with that. And you also have to be cool with taking the feedback from people. You could have come back and said, none of these are good, and I would have went, okay, and I wouldn't have taken it personally, because you're not criticizing me. You're just saying this doesn't fit my vision. It's not. And part of that, I think that's where some people get a little mixed up, is you can't take it personal when you're working for somebody and doing something for them. Doesn't matter what it is, but especially creatives, because we tend to be these overly emotional, sappy, people. And you just have to separate the emotion from the work. Well, and you save the emotion for the thing you're doing on the side that's all yours on the weekend.
Yes. I mean, you want what you do to make people happy. It's something you created. It's something that you work on, and you polish it, and you sand it, and you gloss it, and you hand it to somebody, and you're hoping that will make them happy. And there is, an understandable disappointment if it doesn't just strike them right away. But that's the difference of people who can survive with doing that art as a profession, are people who can take that feedback. And I know a lot of composers who get into film thinking, oh, I can't wait for my music to be in the film. Well, yeah, but it's also not really your music. I mean, you're writing to a brief or to directions or whatever. Like, you're putting your work into it, but you're also writing somebody else's vision. And that's what a lot of artists get discouraged when they turn their art into a profession.
Right. And I think, like, that I guess not, I mean, I'm going to bring it back to the books, not intentionally, but it really kind of solidifies a point that I have 3 people that I allow, quote unquote, to read my books and give me feedback. You, my daughter, and Ron. I've had other people say after they've read my book, do you want me to give you feedback? And I say, no, I'm not interested in your feedback. I have 3 people I trust to give me feedback. If you liked it, great. If you didn't, that's fine too.
Right.
But no, you're not allowed to be part of this creative process.
Mm-hmm.
And that's okay. I mean, I think that's the big thing is you find people you can trust to give you feedback. And you're not being a fantasy reader was like not just the trust I have with you because we've been friends for so long, but what I loved about when you offered to beta read my book and I went, yes, I actually wanted a perspective because my daughter is a fantasy nerd.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, I wanted that perspective. But when you were telling me, I don't read fantasy, I went, great. I want to know what you think then, because does it appeal to you? And for you, it happened to appeal to you. And it could have been the opposite. You could have come back and just been like, yeah, I don't get it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that would have been okay too, but it would have allowed me the opportunity to at least get your opinion. And then I could then choose to adjust a little bit more to make it appealing for somebody that's not a fantasy reader.
Mm-hmm.
And Ron is not a fantasy reader. That was the other thing. He never was a fantasy reader. He's published hundreds and hundreds of books from dozens and dozens of authors, never published a fantasy book, but he loved the story enough that he kept reading it.
Yeah.
And kept giving me feedback.
And that is so telltale of how good it really is. If you're engaging with people that don't read that kind of stuff and hooking them. You know.
That wasn't my point, but thank you.
Oh, sorry. No, yeah, I mean,
I thought out the point of it was like seek out for your passion projects, seek out people that you trust and allow yourself to not take any opinions from people that you don't.
Yeah.
You know? Because there's a lot of, everybody has an opinion, and it's that Brene Brown quote, like, I'm not interested in your opinion if you're not in the arena getting your ass kicked with me. Like, my daughter's a writer, you're a creative, Ron is a writer. Like, you're creative people that know how to give feedback. That's the other thing.
Yeah.
You understand how to give creative feedback that's helpful, not the person who just casually reads, and not that their opinion doesn't matter, but it's more like, yeah, I hope you like it, but if you didn't, that's okay too.
Right.
And I'm okay.
Yeah. And I mean, the feedback delivery is very important because I'm never going to be like, oh my God, this is like stupid. You know, like I'm going to say, here's what's pulling me out of the story and here's why. Maybe I'm missing something. Maybe I missed something in the wording. I mean, I'll be very, honest about that. Because I'm not saying that all my feedback is perfect. Like I might have legitimately misunderstood something, but it's important for you to know that I did, for you to be able to look at that and go, okay, did I explain it where he shouldn't have missed that and he just did? Or do I really need to reword this because it really doesn't come across the way I want it to? And that feedback is important. I'd love to hear what people think about the things I create. I want to hear what they like and what they didn't like. It's not going to change anything though, because they're reading it post completion, right? If they get the book after it's out there, it's not like they go, okay, I didn't understand the scene. I'm not re-editing the book to account for that.
Right.
And I would want to know from those people so many things. Like, I want to know how you think. I want to know what you're looking for in a book, because those are the things that are important if you're reading post-production. During production, it's, this is what I'm hearing or seeing in your story, and this is what's throwing me off or pulling me out or really making me race through these pages because I'm so excited. It's not all negative feedback, but it's a whole different type of thing. You're not looking for my history when I'm a beta reader. You're looking for me to understand your story, and it's not important where I come from to be able to do that. But if it's because you're going to take that feedback and either change it or you're not. If you're getting feedback from readers that have already read a published book, nothing's changing after that. You're not rewriting it. So to take that feedback is kind of, you have to do it with a grain of salt because you don't know what's forming that opinion. It's like with music. If I'm not a Van Halen fan, for example. I have friends who do a Van Halen podcast. In fact, they're recording it right now. They have listeners that absolutely love Van Halen. I support them because they're my friends. I enjoy listening to them talk, but I don't really care for the band that they do the show on.
Right.
And other people might come in and go, how can you not like Van Halen? They're trendsetters. They're this, they're that, or whatever. That's fine. My musical tastes come from 1,000 different things that I was exposed to at different times that hit me the way they hit me, that make me have the taste that I do. No one, I can't explain that to anybody because their experience is their experience. And it's weird how possessive people get over that kind of thing. And so you just have to go, I'm glad you like it. I wish you would have liked that, but I get why you didn't, or whatever. But you can't let that feedback change you or change your course for what you do going forward, because they weren't part of the growth of it.
Yeah, totally agree.
Yeah.
Agree 100%.
Now, if you're in a service business, end user is everything. But this is not a service business. This is this is done.
This is I like a band or I don't.
Yeah, exactly.
To echo your, I don't fully get the Beatles.
Really?
There's a few songs I like, but I'm like, I just don't get it. And my dad, he loved the Beatles. It was his first concert, and he used to listen to the Beatles all the time. And I remember there's a few songs I like, but I'm also like, I don't know. I don't really quite get it.
I think there are artists that, I'm not a big fan of Black Sabbath, for example. They've just never really connected with me. I like 2 of their albums very, very much, but in general, I just never really got into their stuff. I can appreciate how they helped shape heavy metal, but it's like opera. I can greatly appreciate the work that goes into creating an opera. Do I want to listen to one? No. But I can really appreciate the work and effort that goes into making one. The
artistry of it is amazing.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm with you. I've seen a handful of operas, and though it be fun to sit in the audience, after a couple hours, you're just like, when is it over?
Is he gonna die soon? Because I want to leave now. But I want to ask you, and I know the answer, but I feel guilty / responsible. What is your connection with Deep Purple?
Well, interestingly enough, this fella, when I was a junior, walked into my economics class with a lion's mane of red hair and a jean jacket and bleached jeans, and on the back of his jacket there was a big Deep Purple patch. And I remember you walked in and I pointed to the seat next to me because immediately I was like, I gotta know this guy. And you sat next to me and we became friends. And
yes, we did.
I had never heard of the band Deep Purple. I admit, it's maybe blasphemous to say that, but I just didn't know. I was really more into I was a skater, so it was a lot more of the new wave punk rock type music is what the people I hung out with were listening to, and that's what I was listening to. And a lot of the Manchester movement with the Smiths, and especially I was a huge Smiths fan, but also Dead Kennedys and anyway, just tons of bands, doesn't matter. But yeah, I remember you actually were the first person that exposed me to them, not because we hung out for hours dropping acid and listening to them, but it was more just I didn't even know it was. And I had a friend who was a skater, and he actually had, I don't remember which album it was, but he had a Deep Purple album, and he'd have it on. He put it on because I mentioned it. But yeah, and then of course, as I got older and music becomes Spotify, where you can just type in whatever. And yeah, that's when I kind of started listening a little more to a lot of the stuff that friends like you were listening to that I wasn't necessarily exposed to. Because back in the day, oh my gosh, you had to go down to Independent and slap $15 on the countertop just to get the cassette. And, it was more of a commitment at that point, which is a lot of conversation to be had around that. But so you were the reason that I even knew a band called Deep Purple existed.
I did spend many a time at Independent Records, downtown Colorado Springs, I will say. That was amazing
record store.
That was our place. I mean, because I don't recall having used record stores or anything, at least not that I was aware of in Colorado Springs. It was pretty much independent, and then whatever was at the mall.
Recycled Records was the other one.
Oh, we did have that, didn't we?
Yeah, they had that on Academy Boulevard.
Mm-hmm.
There was a location, and then they had one up north on Academy as well. But Independent was the place, and then in Denver it was Wax
Wax
Trax.
Trax, yeah.
Yeah, because we used to.
Found so many awesome finds at Wax Trax.
Oh my gosh, I can't tell you how many times my buddy Eric and our friend Chris and a couple carfuls of us, we would leave campus on Friday to quote unquote go to lunch and drive from Colorado Springs up to Denver and hang out at Wax Trax. And there was always a hot dog vendor like right off Colfax there. And yeah, a lot of time at Wax Trax looking for those rare Smith singles for me especially.
They did carry a lot of stuff that was kind of hard to find, and that's where I got a lot of my Misfits vinyls I got there at Wax Trax, and some more rare stuff. And that place was a gold mine. And it was so exciting because on the drive, you're like thinking, okay, I want to look for this. I want to look for that. And I want to look for that. Right. And you'd forget half the things that you wanted to look for. And all you had to do was walk in and see like 3 things you'd want to buy just by walking in.
Yeah, immediately. Yeah.
Great.
It was the treasure hunt. What's funny is like my wife and I just went to there was a big vinyl sale, like a swap kind of thing up here where I live now in Northern Colorado. And it was the same deal. You walk in and there's just like 30 vendors, thousands of albums of vinyl. And as soon as you walk in, the whole list you had in your head on the way over was gone.
Yeah.
You just started treasure hunting. I mean,
it's overkill. Like it's visual overkill within seconds.
Almost overwhelming.
Yeah. No, that's cool. I'm really glad I helped introduce you to them.
Yeah.
That jean jacket was a painting I did in acrylic of Deep Purple and Rock, their first album with the Mark II lineup. This is the song that we're going to cover today is the Mark III lineup. So that was post Smoke on the Water, post Highway Star. But I loved that jacket. I had got I don't remember what they were called. There was a specific name for them, but they were markers that you would use to specifically write on jean material. And so
we just call them pens.
Yeah. I had written all the bands that I liked on the sleeves. I got a few buttons, a few patches. And then my ex just was like, when she and I broke up, she's just like, can I have this? And I'm like, yeah. And then I went, what the hell did I just do? I just gave away my
what
jacket.
Did you do? That was crazy.
Sandy, if you're out there listening to this, I would love to have my jacket back. Please write me. There you
Andy,
go.
I'll give you 2 free copies of my books in trade for Scott to get his jacket back.
Nice. And I will include a lollipop of a flavor to be determined later. So our song today that we're going to cover, you do have kind of a specific connection to. We are covering Burn, the opening track from Deep Purple's album Burn,
right?
Sung by David Coverdale, who would eventually go on to form Whitesnake. What is your connection with this song, and how does it relate to your books?
Well, so the very first, so I wanted to be a drummer when I was in high school, and which is part of like what I always loved about hanging out with you was I knew you were a drummer. You actually I asked you one time for a set of old sticks, and you're like, what? I just want. And so I was never. I never followed through on that. And, but I always have loved percussion and especially rock drumming. And I remember the first time I heard this song, I believe it was in college. And that opening, like, I was like, whoa, wait, what? And so, and then in fact, later, when my son wanted to become a percussionist, now we're in the era of Spotify and he's in 10th grade and I played that for him. And even my son was just like, what? So, and then of course I started, because I'm a huge Foo Fighters fan, then I started playing some Dave Grohl for him and he was like, oh, okay. And then, yes, my son went on to become a percussionist. But as far as the song Burn, there's a character in my books named Pyramid, and she is a fire sorceress, and she's maniacal and doesn't care who she kills to get what she wants via fire. And So when you really listen to the lyrics of the song Burn, it really has helped me define who she is, where she'll just burn the world down. She doesn't care. Like she'll just, and I know maybe that's not the exact message of the song, but when I read the lyrics, I'm just like, yeah, there's a girl just doesn't care, burning everything down. And so Pyramid sort of follows that formula. And I told you earlier, I have listened to this song multiple occasions before I wrote scenes with Pyramid doing what she does best.
And she is a very strong character. There's no doubt about that. I mean,
she's the main villain, really.
She's one of those people that you're hoping will, by the end of it, kind of come around and have that, arc that will make her realize the error of her ways. But then there's that part of you that just wants to see her get her comeuppance at some point. Like, I just want something bad to happen to you for all the destruction that you've caused. You can have a really good love-hate relationship with characters like that. And I think
she's very, very naughty.
Yes, she is. But they're some of the most fun characters to read their storyline.
Yeah. But you do need to get into a mental, because I am not Pyramid in my personal approach to people in life.
Yeah.
And so you do need, like, this song is so, just the pace of it and the anger in it and like the lyrics. And I mean, it just, I've listened to this song. I can't write while I'm listening to music with lyrics, but I have multiple times, like I said, listened to this song right before I get into writing a scene with her to get in her, like, just mindset where she's just going to burn the world down.
Yeah, no, and that makes perfect sense. I'm the same way. I can't listen to music with lyrics and really do anything else. I tend to have to multitask a lot. And it's one of the reasons I don't listen to that much music anymore, because most of the music I'm in the mood to listen would be like a rock tune or something like that has vocals. Right. And I just can't do it because it will throw me off too much. I found some instrumental music that I can do that with, not all, because even with that as a musician, I'm like, oh, you know what'd be cool though? Is if this happens, right. If it's my own music, I'm just second guessing my mixes and why did I put this flute in there? And it does become a little bit difficult. I have found on occasion when I've done screenplays and when I was writing my book, I actually am able to separate it and just have it on as ambience and be able to work with it. But it really takes a certain balance of focus, I think, to be able to do that, because I also cannot stand silence.
Oh, yeah, me too.
Very loud to me.
I go back to there's a channel on YouTube where they take a lot of video game background music or movies like Lord of the Rings or I'm trying to think, it doesn't matter. But they'll like kind of string, I don't remember who the author is, but they'll string together like 3 hours of just this ambiance, real quiet. There's one of them that I really love when I'm writing anything in the northern part of the northern area of my continent. And it's basically just wintry sounds. You'll just hear snow blowing and wind and, anyway, that's the kind of stuff. Or there's this really great series called Mental Sauna that I have listened to from time to time when I'm writing. That has been amazing, especially for editing sessions, I might say.
Well, thank you very, very much. I actually have used Mental Sauna to write to when I've been able to separate it from being the writer. If I can just put it on and not be like, oh God, that sounded way too loud, or I should have panned that better, or, whatever. If I can get away from that, I'm okay. When I was writing The Universal Court, I actually used some music from the show Lost. For the last 5 chapters or so, while it put me in the right mood, it also made it very difficult to actually sit down and write, because the emotion of the music is really intense. And which is why I wanted to use it, because it was the exact right emotion I wanted to be in the zone of writing with. But it also was somewhat of a distraction because I was getting caught up in the feeling of it. as a
Sure.
listener instead of as a writer. So yeah, I mean, it could be a great tool.
I totally relate to that, because like when I'm writing battle scenes, I will, because my mom is Scottish, and there's pipes and drums, or listen to that all growing up. So when I'm writing battle scenes, there's some of these ambiance channels that will just have like war drums, or and so yeah, like I'll put that on when I'm writing a battle scene, or because like music definitely sets the tone. And I mean, you know who Raspberry is.
Oh yeah.
Raspberry is my bard in my story. We call them a balladeer in my world. And she has a line in one of the books where music is literally the universal language. Like everybody can relate to music. And that's what I love about it. And I've tried to weave that in to her being a central character. She's basically the thread between everybody.
Yeah.
And it's part of that is because she's a musician. So she can just play music and everybody will stop and listen. And, doesn't matter what language you speak, if you hear good music that like hits your soul, you're going to stop.
I think it was either Ian Gillan or David Coverdale that said that music is the most universal language. It transcends 100%. All the language barriers, the legal barriers, the political barriers, all those things that no one else can reach.
Because I didn't know that quote, but that's, yes, 100%.
It's all feeling. I mean, it really is all feeling. And
it just hits you in the gut when it's right.
Yeah. You might, I don't know where you can find it exactly, but you might want to check out, I'm sure it's on YouTube, any of the Donkey Kong Country underwater songs, for any of the like underwater levels. Music is really nice for those.
Okay.
Great video game soundtracks. But this isn't the Donkey Kong Country podcast. this is
there's some song that we're doing with some band. That's great.
Speaking of which, let's jump in. This is the beginning of Burn by Deep Purple. I will say, as a drummer, one of the things that I really appreciate about this song is that he's playing such a tiny drum set. You've got your bass drum, your snare drum, one rack tom. I think he had 2 floor toms at the time. That's it. He doesn't have a rack of toms, and yet he's pulling so many sounds out of it that it really sounds like he's playing a bigger kit.
That's yes. I mean, I'm not like a music virtuoso per se, but what I love when I hear it is the speed. Like just somebody who wanted to learn to be a percussionist, to hear like, you get that and then just that I'm just, wow. Like, yeah, maybe someday I'll learn to do that if the arthritis in my thumbs doesn't kick in, but
that's what duct tape is for.
But we got prescriptions for that now.
There you go. Yeah.
But yeah, it's that's the speed of, and I don't know, like I can't speak to who inspired who, but when I hear that, I immediately go, Liquid Tension Experiment had to be listening to some Deep Purple at some point before they started coming together and doing their little experiment projects.
Yeah,
I don't know.
the list of people that were inspired by this band is pretty impressive. I mean, Metallica grew up on Deep Purple. Lars Ulrich's first concert was Deep Purple on.
Oh, wow.
Machine Head
Okay,
tour.
see, I didn't know that.
Yeah, they've talked about in some interviews like how big of a influence Deep Purple was. I mean, it's pretty amazing when you think about the time frame, because this was 75, but Deep Purple from a rock and roll standpoint was really getting going in 1969 when they came out with In Rock. And you're talking, you had, around the time of Led Zeppelin, Black Sabbath, you're coming out of the Beatles, you're coming out of Detroit, the Motown sound. You're talking about really the beginnings of that hard music. And a lot of it was timing. They found just the right time to introduce some of this. It was new, it was fresh, but you had to have the skill level to be able to write it, to be able to pull it off. And you listen to the just masterful musicianship on the song. And as many times as I've heard it, it still blows me away.
Yeah, like that. As soon as every time the song starts, I wait for that drum to kick in. And like, I play in a steel tip dart league, and you can control everything else in the world now. You can control the jukebox from your phone.
Yeah.
And I always cue this song up when we're the home team. And when I know my first match is coming up, it's quite often this song suddenly miraculously starts up.
Yeah, boy, if this is a great song to put on if you have to do anything physical. If you have you have a pile of dishes that have been sitting there that you need to wash, you have to sweep the house, or whatever the thing is, this is a perfect song for that, because you will get it done.
It's our generation's Fireworks by Katy Perry.
Oh, yeah. There you go.
Because that song, I mean, I'm not a huge Katy Perry fan. I mean, she's made some great music, but that song, Firework, pretty good.
I think that's actually
if you're attempting to be 53 and run again so that your knees fail you in 5 more years, Firework will get you moving.
That's very true. Controlling everything with your phone will not.
No, correct.
I think Firework is probably the only song I know by her. And I know she's got a lot of music out there. I've never really connected with her as an artist, but I think that's the only song I actually know.
I honestly think it's the only. No, I can't remember the name. Anyway, yes, there's 2 songs. But Firework, I got to admit, I'm not, again, like you, not totally connected with Katy Perry, but that song is pretty good.
Yeah, it is a good song. I don't know who wrote it.
And I meant that as a joke at first, but it is sort of like a song that gets you moving.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. One of my favorites from like the more modern, I don't know what year it came out, but like around that generation, like Katy Perry and singers like that, Chandelier by Sia. To this day, I absolutely love that song.
Great song. Yeah, agreed.
What was the one by Miley Cyrus? Adore You? Or Adore, I'm not sure what it's called, but that is another just incredibly beautiful song. Okay. Like there are songs.
I only know Wrecking Ball.
Wrecking Ball is great energy.
I admit, is an amazing song.
It is, really is. Very powerful.
Really well done song.
Yeah, very powerful song. But I mean, there definitely are good songs coming out of the more modern generations that I can get with. A lot of what I hear, it just doesn't really work for me, and I think a lot of it is the production, the sound of it.
I agree.
What they're doing with
I always call it bubblegummy.
Bubblegummy, yeah. I don't like a lot of the singers. I think that's a big part of it too. Like, I don't like this way that people are singing.
Yeah,
like that whole thing. I have to have some kind of emotion in a song, whether it's love, anger, aggression, like whatever it is, it has to make me feel something, right? And that is what I'm not connecting with in today's music. It feels very computerized, even when there's real singers singing it.
Yeah, I think I connect with Wrecking Ball because I'm gained so much weight in my older years that I feel kind of like if I ran into something, it would be like a Wrecking Ball.
I just am picturing you on a tire on a backyard swing, just singing the song.
In a white tank top and short shorts. It'd be disgusting. That would go viral for the UGG factor.
Now I want that video.
There we go. Let's do it.
You can put Raspberry in the background. It's fine.
Of course. I have no shame. Let's do it.
Let's do it. Let's get back to our song here.
Yes.
I love more than anything in this song that blend of vocals.
Yeah,
that's David Coverdale and Glenn Hughes singing together. I think the sound of their voices together needed to be on 10 more albums.
It does. Yeah, their voices work perfect together.
Yeah.
And I can't help, again, like there's connection with me with this song, and so the whole like still I see burn, again, it just reminds me of writing my character, and she's not underestimated, like, which is what I feel like is sort of the message here, is people are underestimating the character that is being sung about, but just the whole idea that it doesn't matter, you're gonna burn. But I agree, like the mixing and the blend of the voices and everything's just perfect. I don't know. Maybe that's just too elementary of a way to say it, but
no, it's fun.
Perfect. It's just perfect. It's all mixed.
For me personally, and I can only speak for myself, this is one of the greatest rock songs ever written.
I agree. I think it is.
From the lyrics to the music to the production of it, the mix of it is perfect. I wouldn't change anything, and I'm a very picky audio engineer. I would do nothing. And for the story, I think what fascinates me about the concept is that she's only doing this because she was underestimated.
Right.
They don't believe that she can do what she can do. And now she's showing them because they've pushed her to that point. And now she's like, now look what you made me do.
Right.
And it's going to get worse from here if you don't quit.
Right. And it just keeps going. Like, she keeps burning things till the end of the song. So
kind of her thing.
Yeah, it becomes her hobby.
Right. Well, let's see where
from a music standpoint, yes. Like, and again, that drum track that just keeps coming back, and that was again the first thing that really hooked me into this song the first time I heard it.
Yeah, it's hard not to notice it, and if I remember the story right, and I could be wrong on this, but I believe it was not originally designed to be played this way. It was that he just got bored and started playing this way, and they're like, that's cool.
That's art though, right?
Yeah,
like
that's how it evolves.
And then what's coming up, which we haven't heard quite yet, is the guitar solo that's coming up. Is also, as someone who tried to be a guitar player and never could play like that, what's coming up soon is this is just to get into that whole, like, everything just sort of, all worlds sort of came together perfectly.
Yeah, this is some brilliant stuff. Some of my favorite Ritchie Blackmore performances are in this song, and when you see him play it live, it's just as good as the recording, which is always nice. And this song, for lack of a better word, is fire.
There you go. It burns.
Let's check out.
Look at that cheap dad joke I just made.
But it works. Let's check out the guitar solo here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. That is a
Can you
smoking
go back?
solo.
Can you go back like 15 seconds? Just play
Sure.
that bit again.
That part?
Yes, that like, brr, brr,
Mhm.
like I don't know. I'm just saying, like drums, like a percussionist, their job is to help keep time for the band. Like we know
Mhm.
that, and then of course it became its art unto itself. But yeah, those little things. Like I said, that's when I was the first time I was hearing this song. Like it inspires, but for me, who I didn't have a kit or anything,
Mhm.
but I was always thinking like if I could play, that's how I would want to play. And those little fill-ins
Mhm.
and then of course and then again back to the layering where you got the guitar solo going and then all of a sudden there's an organ like in there now and it's just it takes over and I go back to the guitar. Like I don't know. It's just yeah, it's brilliant.
Yeah,
Nothing is out of place. Everything just fits.
it flows
Yeah.
really, really well. I mean, you have all
Yeah.
these little different
Beautiful.
sections that are put together because there's really a lot going on in the song.
Yes. Yes.
But it doesn't feel like any of the transitions are awkward. Everything just feels very natural going from one part to the next.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah, and you think about music nowadays, you might get, 25 seconds, and then it just repeats and repeats and repeats and repeats till the end. And nothing is, I mean, from my amateur ear, nothing really, I mean, there's obviously bits that repeat, but they don't sound the same from beginning to end. It just keeps you into it the whole time.
Right.
Like what's coming next,
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just love they have their parts where they kind of go off and do their thing and then they regroup and they all play something together and they go into the next thing. And then, when we get the keyboard solo, that's going to go on, but they have these regrouping points where the band just kind of reconnects. And that's one of the things that I really love about their songwriting is it's not something I see with other bands done quite this way. I see things repeated, but it's not connected by that kind of virtuoso playing.
Right.
Yeah. And nowadays I feel like so much of what little I hear in more modern music is, really 90-degree angles. Everything is like a hard turn. It's like pieces, like parts are written individually and then strung together so that it goes from one thing into another, but it doesn't feel like the same natural transition as we're getting here.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like music, maybe this was sort of one of the pinnacles where the complexity of the music is what made it so great. And then I'll say there's music now that I hear my kids especially listening to it is a lot simpler, but there's also some elegance to it as well. And maybe it's just kind of morphed into because in art, every movement is a rebellion against the previous movement type thing. And though we're quite removed from the late 60s, early 70s, it could be that a lot of what we're hearing now is sort of a rebellion against that real complex, virtuoso type mixing. And that's okay. Like, that's just how art works, right?
Sure.
We all as artists give the middle finger to the previous movement. But yeah, it might come back around, like, you just, I don't know.
Well, I mean, they say everything's retro, right? Everything will come back at some point. Disco tried, it didn't work. Cassette tapes have tried, it didn't really work. But
but I think of I'm trying to make a good example here. Like, Tori Amos kept it like super simple.
Yeah.
And she was, I think, kind of a rebellion, not only just the feminist part of her music, but also it's just a girl on her piano. There's nothing complex. There's nothing mixed. There's no stringing a bunch of stuff together. It was just storytelling with a piano, and I feel like, not that Taylor Swift is Tori Amos, but if you hear like the autobiographical nature of Taylor Swift's music, it kind of feels, it's pop music, but I feel like it has a deeper, it goes deeper than say like I don't want to get too name droppy, but I will admit I've my daughter is super into Taylor Swift, and so it was around, and at first, as a late 40s, you're just like that. And then all of a sudden you kind of start hearing it and you go, well, wait a minute, there's like some depth to this. And she's telling stories. And as a storyteller, all of a sudden you're like, oh, I'm kind of interested. And I'm not saying I'm a Swiftie, but I'm kind of a Swiftie.
There's nothing wrong with that. I
don't have a Taylor Swift t-shirt, but I'm thinking of buying one. Let me put it that way.
Well, I'm sure
I'm just trying to say, like, there's a lot of her music isn't complex like this, but it has a depth of its own that I feel is very significant. And it's like more musical poetry and obviously appeals to tens of millions.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
I think it's the rawness of it and her ability to, and this has a rawness to it, I guess is what I'm trying to say. There is a rawness. There's this song in particular is, there's pain in it. Like the character we're singing about here is reacting and reacting in ways that's like Jeremy spoken, like they reacted to whatever pushed them over that line. And
that's very true. I only know her 1989 album, and I did a review of that with my friend Kevin Brown on the Haskincast podcast. I did not like that album. A lot of it was just the production of it, but I think we're scheduled to do it in August. Whatever her current album is, we're going to be doing a review of that and kind of seeing the span of from 1989 to where she's at now. So that's going to be interesting.
1989 is a lot more poppy. Yeah, I would say poppy is in very pop music. When you get into her stuff, I think when it's just growing up, she hit her 30s and all of a sudden she's singing about pain and not everything is perfect and rosy. And not that her music was always about that, but there is a deeper level in her music as she got older, which is beautiful to see. Yeah. Again, I'm not trying to endorse Taylor Swift albums, but just as somebody that likes to listen to music, I don't close myself off to, they're a pop star. If I did that, I would never have gotten into No Doubt. They hit the scene and they were underground and then all of a sudden they were huge. And there you go. No Doubt is an amazing but if you close yourself off to like, they hit the Billboard, you're like, well, you're missing out on some pretty good stuff. It doesn't have to be unpopular to be good. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I love music from all over the world. I like all different kind of styles. I love Roma music, which is, from Romania and gypsy music, that sort of thing. I love music that was, I love Chinese rhythms and Japanese, huge Japanese percussion. And rock and roll is probably the thing that I listen to about 50% out of what I listen to. And the rest of it is just music from all over the world.
Yeah.
I
agree. Japanese percussion is amazing.
Unbelievable stuff. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. We are coming up towards the keyboard solo of this song. And I have to say, I said it on the original review of this that I did with Nate Beaudry from the Deep Purple podcast. I said it when I did the solo review of the song that I did. And I'll say it again. The end of this keyboard solo, the part where he repeats what Richie did, is one of my absolute favorite pieces of any music I've ever heard. I just absolutely love it.
Time
That is just pure magic to me,
Disgustingly beautiful.
Yes. And it's even better if you watch, any of the live performances and you watch him play that. And it's just, so flawless coming off of his fingers. John Lord, such an amazing keyboard player. But you watch that and you're like, it's just nothing to him. It's just like he's buttering a piece of bread,
Right.
and this magic is just coming out of the speaker.
Right. Yeah, that I don't know how he, the kind of in the middle of that, it's almost like a crunchy sort of wobbly sound, for lack of a better way to put it.
Well, there's a couple of layers. I mean, you've got the organ, then you've got the sort of, it's not a theremin, but it's kind of a theremin sound because it's got just that way that it rises and dips down is that synth is a little bit of theremin over the top of it. And it does really give almost an ethereal feel to it.
Yes, 100%. Like the song sounds like it came from a fantasy book.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like
very much,
it definitely sounds like it came from, I'm not saying it did, I'm just saying it has that feel to it. It has this unworldly earth feel to it. Mm-hmm. Like this is happening somewhere else type thing.
Right.
There's magic. And like, at least that's how I see it. But of course I write fantasy books, so that's
well, sure. And that's the thing. That's why music is such an individual experience, because your mind is going to go where your mind would go based on your taste, your experience, what you spend your time doing, where your focus is. And that's why, 100 people could listen to this song and get 100 different things out of it.
Right.
Which I love,
Yeah.
For me, I feel like if there was a song that I could have been a fly on the wall during the writing sessions, I would love to have seen how all the parts of this came together.
Yeah.
You know?
I'm sure there was a lot of just like everybody's playing, and I agree. Would have been amazing to hear it come together.
I mean,
and then again, who knows? Maybe it just came together.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It could have also just snapped together.
Most of their songs start from some kind of jam session. That's where a lot of them come from. Yeah. And it would be easy to see that, like, somebody kind of says, hey, I got this riff, let's work on it. And they play the riff. I'm like, oh, okay, well, maybe I'll play that if you're going to play that. And, you could kind of see how it would come together. But I don't know, there's just such magic in this song. It feels like this is something that either happened in an instant or was months of going back and forth, trying different things. Yeah, exactly. So,
totally.
Yeah. Well, that keyboard solo blows me away, but we're not done with this song yet. We've got a little bit to go. Let's finish this one off.
Cool.
Sheer power right to the end.
I know. It's like, I love that they didn't, because some songs will fade it out.
Mm-hmm.
This one, it's just done.
Yeah.
And I know that's artistic choice. Like, you hear a lot of songs will either just end or they'll fade, kind of fade out like they continue to play into eternity. But I agree. The fact that it just ends really kind of,
Yeah,
really
I think it's better with the definitive end. If you're chasing this song into the fade, there's probably going to be some solo thing going on again. And I think they did exactly what they needed to do solo-wise. They didn't overplay anything. They gave us 2 absolutely incredible solos.
Amazing
and
solos,
didn't like ride that too much, because that can get a little tedious in songs too sometimes if there's just a little too much of that, for me anyway. But just if there's one word I could sum this song up with, it would be relentless.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
it is.
I'm so glad you like it.
Oh, I do. But our character, her force of will is also, I mean, not to bring it back to my books, but anyone that's read my books knows that the feminine characters in my book are not weak people.
Yeah.
And I did that on purpose because the 2 women who mean the most to me in my life are both extremely strong people. And, so yeah, just, I don't know. There's a little bit of me that loves the revenge story, which is what this sort of kind of starts to sound like.
And that's okay. Yeah.
Like the past midnight, still see red. You're just like, ooh, the vision of what that is.
Yeah.
The vision of the city on the horizon line burning is like, oh, that's eerie.
and I mean, when you think of the depth of that, how powerful this witch really is. I mean, that's pretty incredible that her abilities span beyond like just doing something to somebody in front of her. I mean, she actually has like an incredible physical reach of what she can affect.
Right.
You know? So
pretty cool.
Yeah.
Pretty fun.
I'm so glad that you wanted to come on and talk about this song.
Man, I really appreciate the invitation. I never thought I'd be like, as somebody who's not a musician, just loves listening to good music, like just you inviting me into this little sphere to try to sound intelligent. That's been really fun.
People say to me all the time, they're like, I'm not a musician. I'm like, I don't care. What I want to know is, what is it that your experience with the music is? What do you feel? What makes you happy? What don't you like? Like, I just want to hear how the song connects or doesn't connect with you. That's what it's all about. And so you don't have to have technical knowledge to be able to do that. You just have to be able to go, I like this or I don't like that, and explain what you can out of that. Like, I don't know what it is. There's just something about this that just doesn't work for me. Is fine. Yeah, exactly. I mean, obviously we didn't get that today. You were pretty thumbs up about this song, I would say.
Oh yeah. If you wanted to pick a song for me to sort of fanboy over, this was the one.
Yeah,
for
sure. And you are not alone in that. Many people have voted this like one of the greatest rock songs in history.
Yeah, it's really good.
Which is certainly understandable. Yeah, it's interesting that their next album after this, Stormbringer, was much more bluesy. And a lot of that had to do with, the changes in the band, and the 2 guys that joined for this album then became more comfortable, and they were, a little bit more soulful in that. But this whole album is just a pretty amazing thing from start to finish. And it's a lot of people's favorite album. So you are not alone on that.
Cool.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
And the cover is beautiful.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, just from a visual perspective, from a designer's perspective, the cover with the wax figures that are burning, and then the font that they use for burn, and the way it all, it's a work of art. And that's, I will say, if I'm going to go old man on people, we lost something major when we lost vinyl cover.
Oh,
art.
Yes.
Just lost something so huge.
Yeah, because
even the bad ones now, I look at when I'm at the thrift store and I'm just like, it kind of stinks, but still something about it. The format, you know what I mean? Like,
you used to come home from independent records and you would have, you'd put the vinyl on, you'd have the liner notes to read. Sometimes it was a gatefold that would open up. But for the most part, a lot of them were very readable. You didn't have to use a magnifying glass or, or anything.
Exactly.
Like CDs, they're trying to stuff so much into such a tiny space. They might as well not have bothered, because it's not really readable.
Yeah. And I know you have vinyl like I do. Like I mean, your vinyl collection is way more robust than mine, but when you get the ones and it opens up,
that's the gatefold.
And now you got like a 12 by 24 with the lyrics but also the albums as a story we've lost, and that's sad. you know, where now you can just go listen to a song off an album.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas back in the day, like an album was end to end, purposefully put together with the tracks in the right order, I feel most of the time, in order to kind of tell a story, you know, like and I know it's probably still the case where whoever is putting things in the right order, but like I think back to like Men Without Hats, the album Pop Goes the World. It's a story end to end,
right?
You know, and then like, or even like De La Soul, 3 Feet High and Rising. It's a story, even though that one's goofier, but there's a story told from the beginning to the end. And that story in that case is like, we smoked a bunch of weed and we went into the studio and we made an album, you know, whereas Men Without Hats, Pop Goes the World, that's like 2 characters that you hear mentioned through every song. And
right. Yeah.
Some of that artistry I feel is gone now.
And there are still some people out there doing concept albums. I love doing concept albums. I think they're so much fun and such a challenge to write and record. But most albums, I mean, they're just a collection of songs that were written during a certain time frame, you know.
And I think like you could hit random on an album, and though it be different every time you hear it, it's the songs, and it doesn't matter what order they're in. Where I feel like we've lost. I don't know. Again, I'm just being crotchety old guy right now.
Oh, that's all right. Well, I mean, there is a you know, it was a little bit different with albums because you had very limited time per side. So you had to arrange the songs in a way that you could fit them as best as you could with that limited time frame. When you get CDs, now you've just got a total time to deal with. So now you can really open things up as far as that goes. Then they extended the CD time from like 74 minutes to 80, I think I think that might be where it ended, but it certainly gave you a lot more room. And then bands started going, well, if we're going to have all this room, now we need to write more songs. And then you get 16, 17, 18 tracks per album. And not all of them necessarily should have been on there, but because you're paying now $18 for a CD versus $12 for an album, you better get your money's worth. And so they're like trying to fill it up more. The technology does dictate the industry to a certain point. The artist will do the rest. Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah. It's interesting stuff, but I'm so glad you came on the show. Guys, seriously, check out Scott's work. The links are in the show notes, right to his Amazon page. I can say, even if you're not a fan of fantasy writing, I can honestly say, like, these are very enjoyable stories. Really, I don't know if I want to say reachable doesn't seem the right word for the characters, but I would say identifiable characters. Like you can get with the characters, whether they're on the good or the bad side of the world that they exist in, but definitely worth the investment. I will say that. And that comes from some of my bias, but also I wouldn't recommend things that I don't like. I would just say you should check out his books. But no, I would, as a reader,
it wouldn't even be on the show right now.
As a reader, I would say I found them highly enjoyable, and that's not even my genres. I think the best endorsement I could possibly give it.
Thanks, Scott.
Thank you. Keep up the good work. We're going to get in touch about the Rainbow podcast coming out in January, which I'm very excited to work with you on another project on. But in the meantime, thank you so much for joining me. Thank you guys for tuning in. We are gearing up to start doing episodes for the new album when it drops here next week. I say that as when this episode drops, not when we're recording this here in May. But the new album, Splat, comes out July 3rd. So all you folks who have ordered the digital should have it that day. Vinyl, who knows, unless you go pick it up in the record store. If it's being shipped to you, I know that my vinyl for, I think Equals One was like, I want to say 3 or 4 days later than the release date. I think Whoosh I got a day after the release date. So you never really know when it comes to, because the timing is impossible to figure out all the places they have to ship it all over the world, how it's going to be delivered on July 3rd. You know, but I'm looking forward to hearing it and doing the episodes on that. I have not heard the new single, but looking forward to it. In the meantime, you guys have a great day, and we'll see you in the next episode. Cheers. Thanks for listening to Deep Purple Smoke on the Podcast, a tour of the entire Deep Purple studio recordings. Please remember to give the show a rating on Apple Podcasts or wherever you're listening. Leave a comment and tell your friends. I also have a Patreon set up if you'd like to support the show. You can also write to me at smokeonthepodcast@gmail.com. I hope you enjoyed the episode and thanks for listening.